What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you an Aurabomb original deck that I think is pure genius, and that is a deck centered around Darkrai and Togekiss. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out quite a bit, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And instead of the question of the day, I'm going to take the time that I usually do to talk about what the question of the day is and why, to give you kind of a follow-up to yesterday. Now, for those of you that weren't paying attention or really just didn't care, although I can't blame you, yesterday I posted a video responding to certain situations that had been arising, and I just wanted to thank you guys so much for the outcry of support that I have received. Through that, Jolt doesn't receive any support because he doesn't get as salty as I do. But, I mean, it was really just awe-inspiring to see all you guys being like, you know what, don't listen to the haters, we love you, all that stuff. And I mean, I cannot thank you guys enough. And then a little bit to undermine my own point, I was playing last night, and I ran into somebody who was a sub, I believe it was Yo Mama 2017, and after a match which I was admittedly a little bit salty due to some unfortunate RNG. He and I got to talking for a little bit, and so he's a really cool guy. I just want to say thank you for that conversation. That was really cool, and please accept this trade as a little bit of my apology for being slightly salty, but also as a thank you for being just an overall cool guy and having an awesome conversation. So, yeah, I mean, that's really all I wanted to cover from yesterday. Thank you again so much for the support. It means so much to me, and I really cannot do this without you guys. You guys are the reason that I'm able to do this stuff, and I cannot thank you enough. But anyway, on to this deck. Like I said, it is an Aurabomb original centered around Darkrai and Togekiss, and by this point, you guys kind of have an idea what Darkrai does. Dark Pulse, 20 base, does 20 more for each Darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. You pair this with like Max Elixir, EXP Share, all that stuff just to try to get as many Darkness energy into play quickly in order to be able to hit for a ton of damage. However, Aurabomb was like, you know what? Screw Max Elixir, screw EXP Share, we don't need any of that because we got Togekiss. And what does Togekiss do? Well, first of all, you can evolve a Togetic into Togekiss immediately once you evolve Togepi into Togetic because of the Delta Evolution ancient trait, the same thing that makes the Emerald Break Mega Gyarados so good, because, I mean, you can evolve this Pokemon on your first turn. It'd be really cool if Togetic had it, but unfortunately it does not. However, Togekiss with it is plenty good for this deck. However, what makes this deck work is the ability Serene Grace. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may look at the top 8 cards of your deck, choose any basic energy cards you find there, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So this is a, you know what, Max Elixir, I got you one up. I'm not just looking at the top 7 cards. I'm looking at is it the top 7 or top 8 or top 6? Either way, Max Elixir is top 6 or 7. Togekiss is like, I can do that one better. I'm going to look at the top 8 and I'm going to attach all the energy that I find there. And especially when combined with Devolution Spray, you can just be like Togekiss, Devolution Spray, Togekiss, Devolution Spray. It's really insane how many energies you're able to get on the field in one turn with Togekiss and Devolution Spray, and then just simply evolving the other Togetic as well. Sorry, I really am gonna mess up the names at one point or another because Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss are, I mean, in themselves, they're not overly difficult to say, but when you're talking about all 3 of them in very rapid succession, which I do, then you kind of jumble up the words. So I apologize for that, but yeah, basically, the idea of the deck, get Darkrai into play, get a couple Togekiss, and then just explode for absolutely metric crap tons of energy. As for the other Pokemon, running 2 Shaymin just to try to help with setup, although Shaymin really is just, you only want to play down 1 in this deck because you want to have attackers, you want to have ideally 2 Togepi down, you want to have 2 or 3 attackers. And I mean, yeah, there is room for 1 or 2 Shaymin, but normally you only want to do 1 so that way you don't clog up your bench with anything more and have to attach energy to something that's not going to be an attacker. As for the non-Darkrai Pokemon, running 1 Tauros and 1 Yveltal, I'm actually very torn on whether or not I like Tauros in this spot. If it were up to me, I would actually just switch it with another Yveltal, give it 3 Darkrai, 3 Yveltal. I mean, Tauros is still just nice for having a GX attack in the deck, so I can't really knock it all that much, just because I mean Mad Bull GX is literally a, if you attack me and don't OHKO me, I'm going to absolutely destroy something, and Rage can be good in the right situation, but I'm becoming a little bit less of a fan of Tauros, so I might have switched Tauros for an Yveltal, but this was the line of Pokemon that Aurabomb went with, and he was telling me how godly it is, so I was like, you know what? I'm rolling with it. I'm good with that. 3 Darkrai, obviously, because main attacker. 1 Yveltal, because Yveltal just never, ever gets rotated out, it seems. And also, Evilball, you really just cannot match. I mean, there's a reason that this type of attack has been so prominent in the game for as long as it has. I mean, you had Mewtwo with X-Ball, you have Lugia with Arrow Ball, you have Yveltal with Evil Ball, now you have the new Tapu Lele coming out with X-Ball. I mean, this type of attack will always be relevant, and that's why Yveltal is such a ridiculously good card, and also why Cyclone can conserve energy while hitting for damage, while hitting for some nice damage with why Cyclone hitting for 90. So that's basically our attackers. I mean, not really too much diversity, however they do cover each other pretty well. And then of course there's just no substitute for Darkrai being able to be like, you know what, I just feel like hitting for like 1,000 damage this turn. As for the Togekiss, I'm already messing it up. As for the Togekiss line, we are running 3-3-2 of Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss. This came at the suggestion of Aurabomb because he said, you know what, I find that I don't really need that third Togekiss all that much. I mean, yeah, it is nice if you have 1 prize, that way you can evolve to Togetic. However, to get a little more consistency, I decided to get rid of one Togekiss, have a 3-3-2 line, because with the amount of Devolution Sprays that we run, even if you only have 1 Togekiss like the other is prized, you more often than not will be able to get plenty of energy into play to start digging through your prizes with just 1 Togekiss repeatedly devolving and evolving it. So that's why I decided to go with 2, and in my testing it's actually worked out very, very well. As for the items, we were running 4 Devolution Spray. I mean, that's what makes this deck work so well. The combination of Togekiss, Delta Evolution, and Devolution Spray lets us just continually re-evolve our Togekiss, take advantage of Serene Grace, and get a ton of energy into play. And then I was very skeptical of Aura's line of Recursion at first because I was like, wow, that is very, very, very heavy. Like, I don't think there's a reason for running this heavy of a line of Recursion cards because we have 2 Energy Recyclers, which first of all is never seen in any competitive decks to begin with, and then we have 2 Super Rods, which, okay, 1 Super Rod I can kind of see, but 2, I think that might be a little bit much. However, I was very wrong when I was testing this deck. I loved the fact that there were 4 methods of recurring energy back into the deck because, I mean, that's what Togekiss relies on. I mean, if you have to Sycamore away a bunch of energy early on, Energy Recycler can put it right back into the deck, and so can Super Rod. Also, I've run into situations where my opponent tries to, like, Lysandre up a Shaymin or a Togekiss. This deck doesn't necessarily mind having to retreat these guys. In fact, I mean, it only really worries about having to retreat Tauros because Tauros has 3 retreat. Even the 2 retreat of Darkrai and Yveltal is workable. But with Energy Recycler and Super Rod, you can easily just attach, retreat, and discard the energy, put the energy back into the deck, then re-evolve, put the energy right back onto your Pokemon, and go from there. This is also a great way to get energy back into play. Once, say, like, your Darkrai or your Yveltal gets knocked out, Super Rod those back into the deck, play Togekiss again, boom, you have a ton of energy. So, yeah, definitely stick with this. I even went with a little bit lighter of a line. However, I do really like a heavier line of Recursion to be able to get energy consistently. running 2 Level Ball to search for Togepi and Togekiss, or Togepi and Togetic, and then 4 Ultra Ball to guaranteed get us what we want when we want. One thing that I'm going to try out in this live is Timer Ball. That's one thing that Aura told me to try out. And I mean, I'm kind of torn about whether or not I like it in this deck. I tested with it a little bit and was very kind of meh about it. I didn't feel that it was overly helpful, but it was helpful in certain situations. So I'm going to do one match with a Timer Ball thrown in, probably in lieu of like another Darkness Energy or something like that. Actually, no, don't get rid of the Darkness Energy. I'm not sure, but either way, I'll throw in Timer Ball for something, and I will let you guys know when I am playing with the Timer Ball deck. 3 Trainers Mail, this is something that I decided to throw in there because, I mean, just helps with consistency, helps you get, like, the Level Ball, the Devolution Spray when you need it. 4 VS Seekers to reuse all of our supporters. Only 1 Reverse Valley, basically just to counter Parallel City, but also, I mean, hey, 10 extra damage with Darkrai and Yveltal is never a bad thing. Then, as for these supporters, you have my standard 4-2-2 line of Sycamore and Lysandre, just your draw support, then you have your Lysandres. And then for the tech supporter, Aurabomb ran this, and I decided, you know what, I'll do it to Pokemon Ranger so we don't just get completely shut down by Jolteon. I mean, I'm assuming that's the only reason that he's running Pokemon Ranger in this deck is for the Jolteon matchup, because there's really no other tech card that you necessarily need, because you don't want to shut off abilities, because then that just screws over your whole strategy. And yeah, so I mean, I'm assuming that the tech Pokemon Ranger is for the Jolteon matchup. I'm not sure what else it would be for, but meh. And then 14 Darkness Energies. Aura was singing the praises of running 14 energies, saying, I've never wanted to run any more, any less. And I was like, okay, dude, okay, whatever. I'm going to try this out. I got rid of 1 energy, and I was like, oh, wait, this actually... I mean, it could have just been sheer coincidence, and in all reality, it probably was. But as soon as I got rid of 1 energy, I found myself 1 energy short of a lot of knockouts in many cases, and then when I added 1 energy, I always found myself having 1 too many energy in certain situations, like having too many energy in my hand, all of that stuff. And so it was just kind of funny how the 14 was the only number that really worked particularly consistently. So I mean, could have been coincidence, but you know what, I've seen enough. I'm just gonna go with the 14 energy and go from there. So yeah, that is the deck, guys. Let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Chef Silo with a fire and normal deck. So I mean, maybe this is like an Incineroar deck or something. That'd be pretty cool. And if it's an Incineroar deck, I actually think we have quite the advantage due to our very bulky Pokemon and being able to hit for an absolutely absurd amount of damage early on. So we do win the coin flip, meaning we will get to go first. Start off with actually a pretty nice hand. Too many energies for my liking, but I am going to put the Tauros in the active just to take a hit from a potential Volcanion if my opponent plays that. And I was wrong. This is a Mill deck. Lovely. That is fantastic. Oh, I hate Mill. I really hate Mill decks. I think they're the only alternative win con in the format right now. I think, yeah, because every other deck, even like Quad Lapras, takes prizes. But Mill, yeah, Mill's the only one that just doesn't take prizes at all. Because I do get an Ultra Ball off that Mulligan card, I'm going to go ahead, get rid of the energy, get rid of 2 of the energy anyway, grab a Togepi, play that sucker down, play the energy onto my Tauros, and then Shaymin for some more cards, like try to, well, at least try to get something going to where I can attack next turn. And ooh, I get a lot of good stuff. So what I could have played the Trainers Mail, but what I think I'm actually going to do is hold off until next turn. That way my opponent thinks thinks that I don't have anything. And then also, this is exactly why, because we see the Crushing Hammer, my opponent does get heads. Of course he does. And I do have the Energy Recycler in hand so that I can put back 3 Darkness Energy into my deck, and then Togekiss. So I kind of wish I'd put my Darkrai active, but I put the Tauros up there to take a hit in case my opponent like got something going with a well, I guess I didn't have to worry about Steam Up. Sorry, I just saw Fire and immediately thought Volcanion, but I mean, that's something that you don't have to worry about because we didn't see the water, so I mean, that's just a mistake on my part. But what I can do right here is go ahead and Trainers Mail, get the Reverse Valley. And I mean, I even get the Togetic off of my top deck, so I don't even have to worry about that. If I can get just 2 energy, I will be able to knock out this Bunnelby. So I'm going to Energy Recycler, put 3 of them back into the deck, evolve my Togepi into Togetic, evolve Togetic into Togekiss. See if we can hit 2 energy, because if we do, we win. No, we only hit 1, so that's actually kind of unfortunate. However, if I just draw into an energy, I win. If I draw into like a Devolution Spray, I win. So I mean, I have a ton of outs to be able to win, and there we go. I win the game because I drew into the energy. Let's just go ahead and devolve the Togekiss, see if we can get some more energy into play, be a little bit BM against Mill, because why the heck not? Because if you can, I mean, either, what is it? If you can flex, you better flex. So right now we are just flexing against Mill. I'm going to devolve again. And yeah, my opponent just concedes because he's like, dude, you had the win. Why didn't you just take it? And I'm like, well, it's because you're running a Mill deck and I want to flex on a Mill deck. So maybe people won't play it against me because I hate playing it. But either way, pretty solid first match. I mean, I know that it wasn't very long and I didn't even attack. But at least we got to show off what this deck can do, like just evolve, devolve, evolve, devolve, and just get a ton of energy into play. However, way too short, so let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we found another one against Mega Thaddeus, and this looks like a Volcanion deck. You know how I said the last one I thought was a Volcanion deck? Well, I was wrong because you obviously saw no water types and it turned out to be a Mill deck. However, we see water types, fire types, psychic types, so this is... If this isn't a Volcanion deck, I'm just going to eat my hat. And that's an expression. I don't actually have a hat. I can put on a hat if you guys want me to, but otherwise I'm just going to leave it at that expression. We do start with the Darkrai, so that's pretty nice. And we start off, and we get to go first too. So what I am going to do, Ultra Ball, get rid of the Lysandre and the Devolution Spray to grab a Togepi. Let's see. Wow, we got a bunch of energy in the deck. Got a Togetic, got a Togekiss, and yeah, I even have a Reverse Valley. So this turn's actually going to be pretty solid, I think. So I am just going to grab another Sycamore. I mean, I'll be discarding it, but I can always get that back with VS Seeker later. Let's Reverse Valley, play down the Sycamore, and then go from there. If I really want to get another Togepi into play, which I will be able to do thanks to this Level Ball. Let's do that there, because when I was testing with this deck, a couple problems I ran into with Volcanion was that it was able to Lysandre up my Togepi and knock it out, which destroys my energy acceleration. So I like to always try to have 2 Togepi in play, because these guys, I mean, they're cute and cuddly, but they only have 40 HP. That's not a lot, and that's knocked out by a lot of 1 energy attacks in game. I mean, yeah, Power Heater doesn't inherently knock it out, but with a single Steam Up, you're able to knock out a Togepi. And if my opponent is able to take out all of my energy acceleration if my opponent is able to take out my Togepi immediately, and that's my only Togepi, then, like I said, I lose energy acceleration, and I lose the ability to really keep up with Volcanion, because at that point they can just load up a board and go from there. So my opponent does get a Hoopa. They are going to be able to get a bunch of Volcanions. Only grab 2. So maybe they have a Shaymin in their hand or something. Or maybe they have another Volcanion in their hand. Or maybe another Volcanion and a Shaymin. Because I would think the board that you'd want to go for would be 3 Volcanion, a Shaymin, and then the baby Volcanion active. We see the energy retrieval. Does my opponent just not have anything? Wow. I guess my opponent doesn't have anything. Oh, never mind. There's the Shaymin. So wait, why did he energy retrieval and then attach it to the Volcanion? Because in that case, I would think that I would have steamed up. Or I would steam up and then go from there. I guess it really doesn't matter overall. He was just making sure that he had an energy attachment. So I can see that. I can see that play. I can understand that play. But, ooh, we see the Parallel City. Well, I guess my opponent doesn't realize. Actually... No. Wait, why do you play Parallel City in a Volcanion deck? I don't understand that. I really don't understand that, because both sides hinder you a lot. Oh, man. Things you see on the ladder. I mean, I cannot think of a single is there a competitive Volcanion deck that runs Parallel City? Because if there is, then I don't want to be, like, knocking these people for that. I just think that Volcanion would be the one deck that you would not want to run Parallel City in, because literally both sides hurt you quite a bit. By the way, while I was talking, my opponent got a triple steam up power heater. Ouch. That hurt quite a bit. But I get another Darkrai, so this is actually going to be pretty awesome, as I will be able to evolve my Togepi into Togetic, Togetic into Togekiss, and let's see what type of energy we can get into play. We get 3 energy, so that's pretty awesome. Let's power up Darkrai, get 1 on my other Darkrai, get 1 on my Yveltal, and then I'll be able to Shaymin for 4 more cards. I could have Lysandred in, like my opponent's Shaymin or something like that, but if I knock out the Yveltal, I should be able to, or if I knock out the active Volcanion, I should be able to deal with that pretty well. I get another Togetic, which is very nice. Let's go ahead and devolve once again, get more energy into play. And guys, we started this turn with 1 energy. I am ecstatic to see how many we get into play. Only hit 1 off that Togekiss. Kind of unfortunate, but at this point we do have 6 energy in play already. Let's Sycamore, see if we can get another Togekiss, maybe a couple more Devolution Sprays. I do need 2 more energy, I think, to be able to take a knockout on the Volcanion this turn. So let's go ahead and devolve the Togetic into Togekiss, and then evolve it right back. Let's see, how many energy do we hit off this? We hit 2 more. So we are exploding at this point. Get 1 more energy onto the Yveltal, and let's throw an energy onto the Togekiss, just to have my energy spread out a little bit. That way if my opponent Lysanders, he can't just take out everything. And do I have the knockout right now? I have 8 energy in play. I'll be able to hit for 180. But yeah, I mean, that'll definitely be the knockout. But you know what they say, there's no kill like overkill. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball for yet another Togekiss. See how many energy we can end up getting in play in 1 turn. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I already have the knockout. Wow, 2 more energy. So guys, we are going to go to 10 energy on the field in 1 turn after having 1. That is the power of this deck, and that's ridiculous. 220 damage on the 2nd turn. Just wow, that was awesome. Aurabomb, you are a freaking genius, dude. This is such a ridiculously cool deck. Oh man, that was amazing. Just going from 1 energy on board to 10. Wow. Sorry, I'm just amazed at how well this deck worked. And how well this deck has been working. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, you are susceptible to a lot of clunky starts. Well, not a lot. You are susceptible to clunky starts, just like any deck would be. However, I was actually shocked at how consistent this deck is and how non-clunky it is. Because I mean, we run a 3-3 line of 3-3-3 line of a stage 2. We run 14 energy, we run a bunch of recursion cards, and yet the deck is still surprisingly consistent. My opponent just ends me right there. Oh, got a nice little 375 coins. I am okay with this, but yeah, my opponent end and then forfeited because clearly he had nothing going, and he was like, I cannot compete with that. There's too much energy on the board, because even if that Darkrai got knocked out, even without attaching another energy, I would still be able to knock out a non-Fighting Fury belted Volcanion with my Darkrai that I had on the bench with the energy that I had on board. So wow, that was amazing. We exploded for 10 energy, or for 9 energies in 1 turn to get 10 energies on the board by turn 2. That was awesome, but you know what? We got time for 1 more, so let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we found another one against Golden Apple SK with a Psychic and normal deck. So I mean, it could be like an Espeon deck, could be a Mega Mewtwo deck, could be a Lunala Mewtwo deck. I mean, there's a bunch of solid Psychic decks in the format right now, and I start off with, well, both my Lysanders, so nice to see you both. And I start off with a Togepi, which, not the greatest, but I mean, Togepi is a heck of a lot better than a Shaymin start, because in this deck you don't necessarily mind having to pay the retreat cost because you run a bunch of recursion cards like Energy Recycler, Super Rod, all that stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's annoying to have to waste your attachment, but you get so many extra attachments with Togekiss that it doesn't hurt you as much as other decks to have to attach to the active and then retreat it out. So my opponent is going to Nest Ball, grab an Alakazam. So it's an Espeon. That is a really cool idea, actually. Espeon Alakazam, I really like that idea because Espeon's Divide GX allows you to just spread around a bunch of damage onto your opponent's Pokemon to where Zen Force is able to take KO. So I really, really like that idea. That is a very cool idea by my opponent. They do just attach to the whatchamacallit. What is that? That's an Eevee, and it turns into an Espeon. So, okay. By the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I am testing out Timer Ball in this version just because that's a card that Aurabomb said that I should try out, and so I decided to go ahead and just be like, you know what, let's try it out. However, in my testing, I found that it wasn't necessarily as consistent as I would like it to be, but it's still a good enough card that I decided to throw it into this match and see, and let you guys decide for yourself whether or not you do like Timer Ball in this deck. So yeah, there's a copy of Timer Ball in this version. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the N and the... what do I want to get rid of? Let's just get rid of an N and a Darkness Energy to grab a Darkrai. That way I at least have something to retreat my Togepi into. Let's go ahead and via Seeker grab our N. And then get a fresh hand of 6 cards, put my opponent down a little bit lower than they were before. And yeah, we're in a pretty solid position. Let's go. Do I want to play the Tauros? I think I'm just going to go ahead and play that sucker down and then end my turn. Yeah, because if my opponent knocks out the Togepi, okay, that throws off the prize game because all of my attackers are EXs. If this was my only Togepi that I had, I would not put it active. However, I don't want to retreat into my Darkrai because then it could potentially get confused by a Psybeam, and I would rather risk my opponent taking a knockout on a Pokemon that really is just not going to help them in the long run versus them being able to confuse my Darkrai to where I have to retreat, get rid of 2 more energy, so I'd be getting rid of 3 energy. And then, okay, my opponent is just going to Lysandre up the Shaymin, so that works out pretty well. And wow, that was a great play by my opponent, actually. That was a very, very nice play. Because they Lysandre up my Shaymin, then Parallel City. That way I have to get rid of one of my attackers, and my Shaymin is going to be forced to stay on board. So, okay. Here's what I got. I have an Ultra Ball to get a Togekiss. So what I think I'm going to do... Ultra Ball, get rid of both Darkness Energies. Grab that Togekiss. Because I can always just put one of my energy that I get from Togekiss onto the Shaymin, so I'm not too worried about that. Energy Recycler, put 3 energy back into the deck. I mean, at least I get a save and energy on board. And then I'm going to evolve my Togetic or my Togepi with the energy on it. That way, it's not just a Divide GX away from being knocked out. Let's put the energy, 1 energy onto the Shaymin, and then 2 onto the Darkrai. And then I can retreat, or yeah, I'm just going to end, because it gives my opponent a fresh hand, but... You know what? I'm just going to go with it. I need to get more stuff on board. Get another Darkrai, which... Those Darkrai's really don't help me out right now, so let's retreat into my Darkrai so that I'm able to hit that hit the Espeon at least for a little bit of damage. Let's energy up. What do I want to do? So that Parallel City's actually hurting me quite a bit right now. Let's go ahead and just energy up the... Togekiss, because that thing is not going to get knocked out particularly easily, and then grab a Togetic, force my opponent to put a bunch of the majority of his Divide GX attack into either the Shaymin or the Togetic, and not be able to just get some cheap prizes off of it that way. So that's why I decided to Ultra Ball for it. Yeah, I had to get rid of an energy, but we run enough Super Rods, all that stuff, to where I should be able to get that energy back later if I need it. Unfortunately, I was not able to hit my opponent's Espeon for a knockout, meaning if he wants to, he can just Psybeam me for 10 damage and then confuse me. However, I think at this point my opponent's better play would be just to try to hit me for as much damage as possible with either Psychic or Divide GX taking a knockout on Shaymin or the Togetic.
And what's kind of nice is if my opponent does choose to divide GX, which I'm really hoping he does right here, and knock out my Togetic or my Shaymin, that will open a spot on my bench for my Darkrai. And then also, in addition to that, I will be able to play the Darkrai down. Well, I just said that. It will open a spot for my Darkrai, but at the same time, I will also be able to end my opponent for even less cards next turn. So we do see the the Kinesis coming out as my opponent's Alakazam evolves into Mega Alakazam, puts more damage onto the Shaymin. That's fine with me. I mean, yeah, he will be able to divide GX and knock out the Shaymin for only half of the divide GX, but at that point he will not be able to take another knockout, and that's why I decided to get rid of a Darkrai and a Darkness Energy to evolve that Togepi into Togetic, because otherwise he would have been able to just take another... He would have been able to take a couple prizes off of that turn by knocking out the Shaymin and the Togepi. This way he can only knock out one, and he has to choose which one he wants. Not gonna lie, I would kind of prefer if he knocked out the Shaymin, because while, yes, that is 2 prizes that he gets, I mean, I still have my Togetic on board to evolve into a Togekiss if I want to later, and I can always just play down my Darkrai to in that spot and have another attacker. But it looks like my opponent is just going to focus down the Togetic. I actually agree with that play, because that's the thing that'd be something that he would really have to watch out for later. And he does just put 8 onto the Togetic and then 2 onto the Darkrai. I am fine with that. Alakazam is not going to be able to take a knockout. I will be able to end my opponent. I get to play a Darkrai down. And yeah, I mean, I am so glad that I decided to evolve that Togepi into Togetic, because otherwise my opponent, like I said, would have been able to take a knockout on Shaymin and the my Togepi. And wow, I whiff. I can't believe I whiff. That is awful. But let's go ahead and Trainers Mail, see what we can get. We get a Level Ball. So that's pretty nice. I can Reverse Valley at this point, be able to hit for 10 more damage. It's not, that damage is not as crucial as the fact that I will be able to play down another Togepi and potentially have another Togekiss. Wow, I can't even talk. So there's only 3 energy left in my deck, which means that I have a ton of energy prized. But either way, I am just going to go ahead and knock out my opponent's Espeon, get a couple cards, and no energy. So I get no energy off of my prizes. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I mean, at least I get a Togetic so that I can play that onto my Togepi. Well, I already have the Togetic. I don't even know what I'm saying, guys. Guys, I'm losing my mind. My hand is in a good position right now because I can Togekiss up for a couple more energy. If I get... How many more energy do I need? So I hit for 130. I need 4 more energy, so I would not be able to one-shot this Alakazam. I would not be able to one-shot this Mega Alakazam with the current energies that I have on board. So my opponent actually chooses to devolve it. That's great for me because now I can knock out the Alakazam. So my opponent essentially just gave me another, like, a free turn or a free knockout. And yeah, he will be targeting down the Shaymin, but that's honestly fine with me because, once again, that Shaymin's not quite knocked out yet. It'll take another Kinesis in order for Shaymin to be knocked out, and the damage that he's putting onto Shaymin is damage that he's not putting on to my Darkrai that's on the bench. So yeah, he will be able to just spread damage around, and that's exactly why I did not put any energy onto the Shaymin, because otherwise it would be able to be suppressioned and then knocked out that turn. So I'm glad I didn't. Let's go ahead and evolve into Togekiss, see if we can get a couple energy. We do get 2. That is beautiful. So let's power up the Darkrai and then put... do I want to put it on the other Togekiss? Or... You know what? Let's put it onto this Togekiss because 30 damage from suppression is not a big deal. I mean, that's not going to be knocking out my Togekisses anytime soon. And I want to spread my energy around. That way, just taking out one Pokemon will not be the end of the world. So I do get the last energy from my deck. Let's throw it onto the Darkrai. And then I think... let's see, both Lysandre are in my discard pile. I've gone through 2 VS Seekers. There's 2 energy in the discard pile. So do I want to... Do I want a Shaymin or Sycamore? I think... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and Sycamore, not put down another Shaymin, see if I can get a couple more energy back into the deck, which I will be able to do with the couple Super Rods that I get. However, I really... So 2 energy... Let's just go ahead and do that, see if I can get even more energy on board. Let's put a Darkrai back and put 2 more Darkness Energy, because I did draw into the Devolution Spray, so I might as well just try to grab that, and I do get even another one. So, let's just grab the Devolution Spray. Even though I am guaranteed to hit it this turn, I can even... Let's get another attacker powered up. Let's go ahead and get my Yveltal powered up. Devolve a Togepi, or a Togekiss into Togetic, and then revolve it. That Delta Evolution trait is coming in so ridiculously handy. We get both of those energy. Let's go ahead and just power up Yveltal, and I mean, look at this. We're going to be able to hit for so much damage. If my opponent knocks out my Darkrai, I can just Super Rod that thing back into the deck, along with the 2 Darkness Energy that we get from it, and then I can devolve my Togekiss, which will guarantee that I get those energy right back. So, I mean, I'm just in such a tremendous position right now. My opponent's Espeon will not be able to one-hit knock me out with Psychic. Actually, even if he goes for Confusion, or even if he goes for Psybeam and confuses me, I can just manually retreat into my other Darkrai, Super Rod those energy back into the deck, or Energy Recycler them back into the deck, devolve my Togekiss, and then I'll be able to hit those 2 energy once again. So now you're starting to see the synergy that this deck has and the combo ability, because yeah, I mean, you can retreat, and if you have like a Super Rod and a Devolution Spray, you can essentially just get those energies right back onto the field with little to no cost to you, just at the cost of a Super Rod or Energy Recycler and a Devolution Spray. So yeah, that was the deck, guys. Aurabomb, you're a freaking genius. I know I said that a bunch, but he is. This is such a cool and awesome idea. I encourage you guys to try it out for yourselves. And yeah, that's the deck. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.